Anybody? Sorry, guys. We had some major technical difficulties there. Apparently, the microphone decided to ruin our life. Ruin our live stream, that's for sure. Um, but we'll see if anybody finds us. Fake name, hey, somebody found us again. Uh, okay, now people are trickling in. I don't know what happened. It had everybody still in the group that I could see, but nobody was chatting, and the screen said error, and Keanu R, aloha. So I'm gonna let people come back in. I'm gonna hand over the controls to the lovely Lara Lee Severance, my wife, who's wearing some funky, trippy art tassels. Like, was it lamps back in the day had those? Table runners? Magic carpets, that's what had them. Okay, so we are while we wait for people to come in, thank you for sticking with me through the technical difficulties. I just thought I'd show you since you've never seen half these creatures. In here, we've got probably 4 or 5 panda loaches. They're pretty cute. They're little black and white, inch-long, little swimmy dealies. We've got Lucas Bretz, best strain in the world of blue Neocaridina shrimp. Probably Zangagensis, if not Davidi subspecies. Also, we have one for the heck of it, because why not? The original type that I started with, his rainbow tiger endlers. And then that way you guys can see downstairs in other videos how far I've come with the blue coloring and doing all the other stuff that I do trying to breed them. So, it looks like we have a fish that's just drunk and sitting on a plant. Can you see this, honey? Oh, he moved. But oddly enough, CPDs or Celestial Pearl Danios have this weird hunchback, the males do, as they get old. And it's just a weird looking fish when it gets older. The younger males look very spry and good. So this here is a male Pseudomagil Aru2, Pseudomagil Gertrude, I should say. And then the guys with the stripes are erythromicrons. If you see stripes like that, it's probably a girl. And if you see real crazy intense stripes, probably a boy. Also, we got an Autosynclus. We've got a Starlight Pleco back over there. And there are a bunch of Malawa shrimp in here. And then apple snails, golden ram's horn snails, red racers. There we have a male erythromicron, or sometimes they're called emerald. What are they called? Emerald rasboras, emerald galaxy rasbora. Um, but they are very, very, very pretty when they're all colored up and ready to spawn. I have a little project in the works where I will be getting some more of these guys. So this is a female here with almost no striping. You see her. And the male was over here somewhere, but he's got like, oh, there he is, royal blue with orange and gold, and just really pretty. And then the last critter in here before I hand over and we talk about the aquascaping again, the last critter is hiding. As soon as I gave it a place to hide, it went away. But they are these loaches, and they're called zebra stripe loaches. This tank has a really heavily influenced Myanmar, uh, I guess, feel. So, yeah. In any case, that is the drill on everyone, and you'll see the blue shrimp flying all over. And here is the wifey. Yeah, apparently that microphone needs to be plugged in before I start. So we have some choya wood here, and this scape, I have done this scape completely wet. A lot of people prefer dry scaping, and I guess I do too if, in the long run if I'm doing any sort of carpet or something. But if I'm just moving things around, what my goal is to get the areas blocked off with the colors I want. And as I said in the video earlier, the goal with this was I wanted more area for low-lying plants here. And I've planted some kind of exotic plants as well as some larger glosso, some hair grass, star grass, and there's another one like creeping something. It's not creeping Charlie, it's not creeping Jenny. There's a lot of creeper plants apparently. But I think just for like the sake of the animals having wood in their diet and so forth, I'm just going to put some wood in there. Right now I've got the thermometer turned sideways because I wanted to be able to work with this, but it's always best to take your thermometer or your heater. I apologize for my word switchery, but it's always best to take your heater and to put it near the inflow of the water into the mixer upper machine. And so let's pop this off. Even though this absurd 100-gallon filter is not what's going to be in here long term, we're going to put this heater over here so that way it's pushing out water that's heated. That water circulates around. Right now, if I were to keep this like this, this tank has great circulation actually. Even though it's a rectangle, it'll come out here and go around here. The problem is right now this is blasting these plants, and these are some of my favorite plants, and I'm kind of like just dusting them off, trying to get these bits and pieces sucked up into this filter, which right now, like I said, all these bits and pieces, as you do your work, when you're doing a wet start aquascape, you will just be taking a net and going around getting them, trying not to pick up any mini pseudomagills or anything like that. Please feel free to ask any question, aquascape related or not. That is why my wife is here filming today, so I can use both hands while we work on this. And yeah, I'm here for you guys as a normal Q&A. But I'm also just showing you guys a normal day in the life of re-aquascaping a tank that needs it. This tank had basically, what happened is a lot of the plants and things in this tank had started to grow legs. And what I mean by that is you would see these beautiful plants at the top, but the entire plant, and this is a small version, but the entire plant, look at all these roots that are sucking up nutrition because it can't get enough light. It's just starved. And so it's a matter of sometimes you have to bite the bullet and, you know, trim off a chunk of the roots, and because it doesn't need all those roots. It was grasping because it didn't have enough light. So then we can put in another, tuck that in, and this one has kind of a cool swirly effect. Also, I'm tucking in roots as I go. This is a Limnophilia aromatica, just the top of it, cut off from the other 40-gallon tank. And I love these. Plus, they smell really cool when you get them out of there. But as I look at this, I think I've decided, like, I don't need a lot of stuff blocking the view of some of this cool striation in the rock. And I've lined up the striations in the rock, hopefully, so that there's some banding, as you see it here, that goes this way so that it's all kind of going like it fell over. Um, and it fell over, and that was that. Um, and then the other thing that you need to realize, or that you can realize, you don't need to do anything. Um, I like to tuck in like pearlweed and other stuff and moss into little crevasses for shrimp to have babies, for other animals to spawn and so forth. Uh, but basically, they'll just grow out, and then if there's ever a time when you need moss, uh, it's right there for the taking. And so that's kind of my logic behind why I like doing that. Over here, we've decided that purple's kind of the motif. So I've got some purple butterfly. Um, it's a mix between Inra and purple butterfly. I'm gonna keep it still over here in a capacity, but I'm gonna also kind of pack this corner, which if you see here, this corner has some broken dead shells. These can easily be broken up. Um, they add to the calcium in the tank, as well as the carotenoids and just the other little doodads of compounds that are all right with me. So here's some interesting plants where it's like, I don't remember what that was, but it wasn't getting enough light. And so I trimmed it to all heck. And I'm going to put this here for those of you who follow my channel, and you're going to be like, whoa, what was that? And I'm going to be like, I don't know, it was that doodad I put over there. So we've got purple running into kind of some reds back here. Then it gets a little more purple again on the undersides. We've got red. We've got Hygrophila Sunset, and then we've got in the dead center, we've got Hygrophila Sunset. We've got I don't know if this is gonna grow well, but it was growing like crazy earlier. But unfortunately, this stuff, which is Erectus, what is it called? Shoot. I'm drawing a blank, guys. I'm sorry. But the last part of its name is Erectus. It is very. It's related to like octopus plant and that kind of stuff. But it was growing like a thick jungle at the top. The bottom somehow was almost rotten completely, and it was like horsetails. Um, and it just took up so much soil and was so root bound, but dead. So I totally just butchered whatever was left of that. I've been pulling like crazy. I've been trying to get rid of the what are they called? Ow.
Looks like we got a lot of people rejoining finally. We've got Oddball Aquatics.
Hey, what's up, Oddball? How you doing, gal?
He said, "What's going on here? It looks like a mess." Now, a mess is being made. LOL.
That is
Welcome to my
truth.
world. Viola Hops a lot. Hello.
Hi,
Steven
Vi.
Nix. Hello.
Stevie Nicks?
Steven Nix. Fish Tropic. Hello. Let's see. Fake name said, picked up a large metal and MDF plywood shelf for some of my aquariums. What type of paint should I seal the wood with? That
Acrylic.
won't leach chemicals when wet and drip into a lower tank.
Either acrylic with a nice seal, or I would maybe, if you're not near any other stuff, you could get a heavy duty oil base and then clear seal that like a engine clear coat, like an engine for a truck, like engine clear coat spray paint. I've used that on metal stuff, and it's just heavy. It's heavy metal, boy. So those are my recommendations. I would probably just hit it with acrylic because the acrylic is usually like it is plastic essentially, but it's not like death, you know, destroying, death causing plastic. It's just some plastic that a little bit might break off, but nothing too major. So even in here, I'm getting like, wow, look at that wad of dirty moss. So shake it off like Taylor Swift. But you can see that this would actually be a nice start. You can hide all of these pieces over here and like pin them and they can even die. But that could be a nice branch on like a little moss tree or whatever. But I have so much moss here. This is moss and just oddball odds and ends that are from this tank, including a lot of normal Rotala. Oh, here's what I was going to show you though. So that Erexis, what is that stuff called? The plant, I can't remember the first part, but erectus is the other part. You can see here, it's literally hanging on by a thread. And if I pull lightly, that thread wasn't even connected. So this stuff is odd. I don't quite understand how it puts down roots. It's so mushy that I don't get it. But I'm going to take pieces like this and this, and we're going to attempt to plant them.
Viola Hops a lot says it looks so much better already without all the tall, crowded plants.
Yeah. So, what I want to tell people though is that this is nothing near where we're going with this scape. This is a wet rescaping, which means you are limited. You don't want to make your fish go insane. And basically, what you want to do is get your core areas represented, get them in there. Let's see, is this a limnophilia or is this? This is feeling more just like stargrass.
Alan Bauer said, "Do you have any Physidian moss? Physidins moss?
Oh, Physidins.
Physidins.
Yeah, I do downstairs. I don't like that stuff. I thought, oh, this stuff looks cool. And then I started working with it. And unless somebody sells you like a nice chunky mat of it, man, it's just been nothing but a pain in the butt to me. But to each their own. I mean, some people love that stuff and they've made incredible floating. So you see what I'm doing here, by the way? See all these roots that I'm pulling up? I had to do this to the entire tank. And this is where you find old dead moss that's just tattered. And it's dangerous to pull up. It's really not good for crypts usually to pull them up, and this is one of my favorite ones. A lot of times they'll melt all the way back. When you do this, it's not going to kill it, but it will melt all the way back. But then I just drag it through the water, and I'll take my little scooper, put more pink Rotala butterfly in here. But this is a crypt that I want front and center because I think it's beautiful. And so you try to bury the roots the best you can back under stuff, and then you just kind of trim them off. There's no right or wrong way to aquascape casually. Now, there are professional level aquascapers, and there's definitely classes of aquascaping that are like done a certain way. But what I'm just showing you here is how I redo a scape when basically the functionality of that scape has outgrown its usefulness to me. And like this is some boost that was growing. Look at that boost. Isn't that nice, you guys? The leaves have some holes. I'll probably clean that up. But both these boosts and this one too is the other major amazing one. This was under a rock, and it started as a teeny little boost, and just exploded in the darkness, I guess. I'm confused by that one. But I'm going to return it back to where it likes to be, which is apparently at least somewhat in the dark. But the bummer part of that is I'm not going to be able to see that beautiful Boos plant.
So let's see. We have Alan donated $10. I don't know if that happened
Alan, thank you
already or
so
if that's
much.
awesome. Swag Skywalker says pardon my pronunciation. I can't pronounce any of these.
Yes, it's fine.
Pogo Stamen is the first name.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, that was killing me. Thank you.
Jeff Griffin says love that tiger crypt.
Yes.
JH
Me
Aquatics says good evening. Just popping by to say hello before bed.
JH, thank you so much from the American Virgin Islands. Mon? Did they say Mon down there? Can you help us, JH? Oh, you see what I did here? I disturbed a bunch of baby blue shrimp, and I guess it's real dusty, but check out all these shrimp. It's a shrimp family. A shrimp buffet, if you will. All you can eat. But yeah, so I just moved that. I don't know where I want to. All this is, as you see the tank getting muckier and muckier. When you do a wet remodel, you're just gonna have to kind of play with stuff and see if you can get it looking somewhat decent, like somewhat the way you want it to look. And here's another piece of boost that's just really pretty. It's orange under the right light. You can see that there's new growth in 3 spots, but it's getting long, so I should chop this up into, really for boost, this could be 1, 2, 3 new plants easily. But I do kind of like having the big chunky boosts because nothing really happens to it. It's nice and stoic. Do we have any other questions on there, honey buns?
Let's see.
Pogostemen stellata, Pogostemen erectus, Pogostemen stellatus octopus. Man, I can't believe I was forgetting that. Thank you so much. And yes, this whole little escapade, this whole little episode was originally on the first go titled This Unruly Mess I've Made, because you'll see this mess and you'll be like, holy cow, Alex, what the heck did you do to your tank? And then you'll be like, oh, actually that looks all right in a week or two. But you never need fear of chopping the heck out of your tank. At least just for me, I just make sure that I keep a couple sprigs or stems of whatever plant it is, if so that I don't completely decimate it. But really, don't be afraid of the blade.
Got a question from Viola Hops a lot. Which is easier to grow, crypt or bucephalus?
Bucephalandra. Bucephalanda depends on who you ask in what country on how you pronounce that. But it's Greek. It's named after Alexander the Great's horse, who was Bucephalus, and he was supposedly like the best horse in all of the land and the most beautiful. And he rode into battle all trusty and horsey. But yeah, so Bucephalandra, it depends on what kind of tank you have. I'm gonna say if you have a tank that is primarily middle to low light, then Bucephalandra is probably gonna be a little bit easier to grow. Uh-oh, did I unseat that one while I was... Yes. So this is the mess of wet scape planning. I'm not using any of the fancy tools that I should be, or could be, I should say. This is stargrass that's gone wiry on me. Ludwigia that has gone wiry on me. But this corner I want to be peach and purple and a light green. And I just love Limnophilia aromatica along with this purple butterfly and the Thai sunset cross with the Inra, and then this with the Ludwigia exlacustris. I hope all this can take hold in here. And this will grow upward and outward.
Swag Skywalker says,
Yeah.
Alex, I wish you were on the right coast in Philly. Would love to sit down and chop it up with you.
Oh, man. I wish I was on the...
We love Philly.
Yeah, we love
We have
Philly.
good friends there.
Yeah, when I was in Philadelphia, I bought a really nice bongo drum in college from a head shop right next to the park, the big park downtown. And we played hacky sack with a bunch of hippies and gutter punks. And yeah, Philadelphia. You know what though? The cheesesteak places that everybody talked about as being the best, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Not the best. I've had better cheesesteaks in like Vegas or here or wherever. But there are really good places, obviously, in Philly. But all the ones that everybody's always name dropping, I'm sorry.
Says they're the worst.
They're the worst. Yeah. Yeah. Like, okay. I'm glad that that is settled. We have friends out in Philly. It is totally a possibility that we make a trip out to Philly. I really, really, really want to come to the aquatic experience, but I really, really don't have money for that. I wish I could get a sponsor. I haven't really solicited anybody. Maybe if I hassled somebody like Aquatic Arts, they might sponsor me. I know they've got a booth there. And just talking about the history and the geographical origins of certain plants. They've talked about working together on something like that. But yeah, so down here, I think what I'm gonna do is save room for all this stuff can go. These golden ram's horns just need to chill. I'm gonna save room for all this and just brush it off. This can all be yanked out and what's the word? Not carpeted with cranking up the CO2. We can recarpet this. We can even bring some fill soil up into here, put a sandbag under here, get some soil here, so there's a whole ledge of plants up in here. But that's all for later. All this moss, which so beautifully sat in this tank, I'm going to put some of it back in, just like in a heap. And it runs the risk of rotting. But what it does is it doesn't need that much light or anything to produce oxygen. And so I'm just going to let it do its thing and see how it goes. But this nicer, fluffier moss that has grown out, like the Christmas tree moss, the fire moss, see, some of this is really nice. This will all be probably grafted onto some wood on the tank downstairs, which will conclude this evening's set. If you guys want to follow me and my wife wants to follow me downstairs, we will put this moss back in its place.
All right, let me recap here if anybody came in. He said, oh my, he bought a bong from a hippie.
Wait, did the hippie buy the bong from me? I said bongo, like Van Gogh. There was just a delay.
Let's see. Swag Skywalker won't be there either. It's his wife's birthday weekend.
Ooh.
Jeff Griffin said, come and do a talk at Milwaukee Aquarium Society.
Rad.
And
yeah, if any of you guys have local aquarium societies or fish clubs and you would like me to come speak, I am available to do that if your club has funding to at least fly me out there. I'm happy to do any one of my history talks, things like that, out there. So, just thought I'd let y'all know that. And right now, with aquascaping, there's never a hurry. You're never finished. I do my aquascaping, as you can tell. I do it so that this is completely functional aquascaping. This is aquascaping that your fish are going to live in and they're going to love, and I'm thinking about them and their hiding spots. I'm thinking about light and how this is going to grow out. Aquascapes a lot of times look like doo-doo until you grow them out, and basically uh, I'm just not worried about it because so many times I've worried and I've fiddled with stuff early on, and it's not worth it. Like if this is too densely, if it looks like a mangled mess, what'll happen is things will grow towards the light, and in a week or 2 weeks, something will be the obvious winner. You snip down the rest, and you can also pull whatever out that needs to be pulled out, and you're good to go. So I think a lot of people approach aquascaping thinking that it should look like the pictures in the magazine. And let's get real. I want you guys to understand, so like, this is so important when you get into aquascaping at home. I have gone and done the competitions. When I do a competition, I basically have every rock. Ask my wife. Wife, is this true? I have every rock planned out in the size of the tank that's coming. I sometimes even have it like glued together, so I'm simply setting the rock in there. And I've been up the nights before fiddling with what plants are going to go where, drawing that, and it's basically plug and play. And that being said, you do things like tie things down and use strings and stuff that are just not a good idea, will never last in the real world. And that's why the ADA competitions have started to kind of have more emphasis on are we doing aquascaping for it's always so ugly when you see the underside of certain plants. It looks just like they've been torn and mangled, but that's just stargrass. That's just how it rolls. So I just tuck those pieces in and keep on going. But yeah, so this is not an aquascape for the stars. This is not one to be where you just photograph it and that's it. This is going to be an aquascape that I fully intend to, this will all fluff up. It's probably getting hard to see. And this will grow out, and it will be a completely viable, usable aquascape for the fish that I'm keeping, as well as a nice looking garden, hopefully. But that all comes in the next few weeks. And so people who expect to see an aquascape that is essentially finished looking, especially if it's done wet, if you're doing a dry aquascape, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, yeah, yours should look a little bit better because you've grown your grass and everything right into form. This I've done in one evening, or last evening, I guess, and then this morning for a little bit, and then tonight. So I've done it in probably 5 or 6 hours, but I've completely gutted the tank, got all the bladder wort out, which is always good to do. Got all the broken down soil out, some of the mulm, but not all of it, and then I just kind of rejuvenated a little more of the soil, and I'm just kind of catching the loose leaves and getting rid of areas of the roots that were bound dead, had different kinds of moss and things like that on them. And
We have another $10 donation
Whoa!
from Bob Kaler's Fish Hobby.
Bob, you already gave me money, man.
He said, matching your donation, Alan. Loving the scape, Alex.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Bob is the best. And he gives me medical advice. I don't know, like, I'm not going to say legally. Like, he just throws it out there, and if I take it, I take it. Legally, he would never do anything illegal. So this corner is a little cluttered in that I want this kind of cool rock to kind of be shown. And so I might rethink this now that I see it. I think I want to put this cool rock a little more forward, and we'll plant that Limnophilia aromatica. And I have a mini version and the adult version right next to each other, which is a really, I think that's the best way to do it. to have them next to each other, at least near each other, because otherwise you can't just tell if it's a young plant or what. But when you see a tall plant that has the same beautiful variegated leaves and little details, it is something special to see. So I'm going to stick that there. We've got some of these bigger, this is red butterfly that is, crimson butterfly I should say, that is young. And we're just scooting all this. We're just making happy little mistakes. Happy little trees. I mean, there are no mistakes, just happy little trees. And I think this will give us the look we want a little bit more of, like the broken, like there was a mountaintop that fell and collapsed down into one direction. That's kind of the feel that I want there. So let's go downstairs, get this mass of life, which could fill a 10-gallon aquarium and probably will in my shrimp tank. Let's go put this downstairs. Thank you so much for the super chats, y'all. Did I drop something? Yeah. All right. So normally, guys, this tank, as you can see, this was another tank that was done wet, and people thought I was crazy. Hey, look at the pleco right on the front. That's weird. But to keep the ammonia down and everything in this tank, this ball of moss, it is used to CO2, it is used to light. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hide it, and I'm just going to tuck it back up in here, untangle some of this. But we're going to just hide some of the moss here, under here, and then tuck this back. I just like to hide moss. I'm like the Easter bunny for moss. And then here, we're going to tuck some more moss up under there. Hey, look at that. Look at this, hon. You see the snail that's under there?
Mm-hmm.
We got a yellow racer snail. Check these guys have their fins up. Under here, I guarantee you there are a bunch of panda corridoras. And maybe I can get some of them to move, but they're pretty lazy. So check this out. These are the pandagaras, and they would love nothing more than to suck my blood. No, they're cleaning my hands. They're like little puppies. I love these guys so much. And I'm getting more from Aquatic Arts. They're just sending me out some. So you guys, if you want to get anything from Aquatic Arts, they've got a lot of really bizarre nano fish that I kind of help them pick out. So if you're wondering, like, that's weird, I've never seen an online store carry that, that'll be why. But these guys are like little puppy dogs. They just take your dead skin off, and they kind of tickle. They've got orange fins now. They'll get more color as they're older, and they kind of hop around. But they just kind of tickle while they do that. And he doesn't want to stop. Look at this. So I just think they're fun. This tank is another example of one that was done that way. That stargrass up front that looks sloppy with the tiger cryptspiralis. It looks just like this. And the red butterfly stellata will look like that. The super red will look like that. The sunset rotala inra will look like that. The plant that I can't ID that was brought from Afghanistan is growing this way. This is another interesting one. This is some sort of rotala that has decided to grow completely downward, like as if it were a carpeting plant, and I have no idea why it's doing that. but I love it because it's a beautiful pink color.
We just got another $10 donation from Cameron Bailey.
Cameron, thank you so much, sir. Ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir.
Man, I appreciate all the great info. You are pretty awesome.
Thanks, buddy. I try to do a lot of info in all the live streams as I'm yakking away, but also any video that I've posted and created online that's up there is gonna have this kind of info like tonight. And then there's some really dense ones like the history of the L number series in plecos and the kabamba grass and the evolution of it and how it was named and how Charles Darwin and this racist guy and all just interesting stories that
says I'm a dude.
they get really complex. But in any case, Cameron the dude, I was watching Halt Catch Fire, so I was like, oh, I guess Cameron could be a girl's name. I don't want to offend anybody. But this moss in here, as this manzanita has grown, I love when Christmas moss or willow moss does this, and you just get the perfect little Christmas trees. Hey, Pandagaras, closed for business. Look at him. He won't let go of me, hon.
I see it.
He'll come out of the water and still hold on to me. The other day I had my hand in this tank and I went to move and I dropped him on the carpet, unfortunately, because he wouldn't let go of me.
Trinity says, does anybody have green dragons or know where you can get them locally?
Where are you, Trinity?
Bob Kaler responded, the wet spot has them.
The wet spot has them, and can I see this real quick?
Mm-hmm.
The wet spot has them, and like, is this the kind of green dragon you're looking for? Like something like that? Like these guys? Or maybe like the long fin variants that were on the glass a second ago, or maybe the babies that I have in this tank. I have them. So if you're in my Facebook group, I have too many green dragons. I would love it if someone locally wants to take these off my hands. I have some short fins and some like medium fins that are from the short fin group, but I also have some long fins that should be producing soon. I don't know what their problem is. They're just not comfortable enough yet, I guess. And they're in a big tank. But yeah, so there's some brand new baby. I just kicked up a lot of mess, but where are they? There's some brand new baby green dragons all over. And then there's also upstairs, I've got some that are like 2.5 inches long. I'm in Tennessee, unfortunately, but would definitely, me and Bob are looking for some. Yeah, you and Bob live next to each other, right? So I should just send out a big box of them out to you guys. There should be some in here, actually. There were a few babies still in here. They're not growing well in here, which is kind of odd to me. Like, I thought with all this... Oh, there's one right there. I thought with all the wood that they would do great. So my green dragons, a lot of them they have these tan strips on their tails and these soft patterns of like starlight airbrushed onto their back. And they're kind of cool. That's like the small guys I have, but I have some that are like this big now. See, are there more over here? Yeah, here's one. You guys can't see. Here's another one. This is a long fin green dragon. They're so flighty though. Whoop. As I was saying, here's another one. The big guy? Oh, and there's another one right there. So all three of them in this tank. just decided to come out just for you. And my wife can ID a green dragon pleco, which is a big moment in fish nerddom for me right now. Because before she called them those ugly sucking fish. Right? Isn't that what you called them? Something like
I
that?
just said they were not the most attractive fish.
Yeah.
We'll go with ugly.
Alright, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much to my wife. I know this wasn't like an aquascaping, like Zen master kung fu teaching you. Thank you so much for all the super chats, you guys. It was that Cameron and Bob and who was and Bob again and
Alan.
oh, it was Alan. Okay. Did Cameron also?
Alan and Bob.
And Cameron.
Yes.
Or was it Alan and...
I'll
Okay.
show you on there.
Well, I gotta scroll too far. You guys are talking tonight. I like that. Oh yeah, Cameron. Okay. All of you guys, thank you. And thank you for watching. Please feel free. If you don't, like, this is not the most shareable video tonight, but you know what would do me a big favor is if you find your favorite video and share that with your friends on YouTube or Facebook. That would mean the world to me. Just because I want to keep this family growing. And you know what's funny is these guys, once in a while, they'll try the rainbow or the pandagaras, I should say. They'll try to suck on another fish and try to clean it, and the fish will just be like, "What in the hell are you doing?" and just like smack the crap out of it. But with people, we love attention from fish. To have a pet fish that crawls in your hand and like will actually take a nap in your hand, it's pretty special, especially when they get like this big. And they've got these front flippers that they kind of stand like a little bulldog. Like I had one on the top here that would stand like a little bulldog, and I just thought that was the cutest. Also, these sword fins, they've had babies, and I'm sure those will be all over. But yeah, so that's what's new. If anyone can tell me what the heck this plant is, I would love that. It's carpeting really well, and it's kind of cool looking. Celestial Pearl Daniels, rad. I love them. Get them. Get lots of them. And give them places to hide and then an open area. Feed them in the open area. If you can, give them live food because they really like if you can get them like vinegar eels, something like this to feed them. They have a good hunting instinct. They're actually quite the little hunters, and they will eat your baby shrimp, surprisingly. But yeah, so interested in your green dragons. I am in Portland, Oregon. Would also like to talk about. Yeah. Cool. Danielle Edwards, please message me on Facebook. So find the Facebook group of this same name and message me through there, or tag me, join the group, tag me there, however you want to do it. That's the easiest place for me to keep up with chat because YouTube is just not set up the best for that. I lose a lot of comments. But Celestial Pearl Janios, they're great. I've done a video on them, including how they're from a war zone, and we will not be getting them for a while. But they're not that hard to breed, so eventually that niche will be filled. But they will be hard to find for a while, as the war and conflict has actually increased in Myanmar, or Burma as we once called it. I don't have any hoodies or t-shirts, but that's something I've thought about. I mean, obviously I've got a lot of art around the house. I've got a lot of fish art elsewhere that I've shown you guys in other episodes. I mean, for goodness gracious sakes, I have, can you guys see that? Hold on, flipping this around. I have a don't want to show too much leg. Still burns from the lightning and then the lupus on the edge. This was the first tattoo I ever did. I was a tattoo artist for, I don't know, a decade. And this was the first tattoo I did, was a rainbow trout leaping. So, yeah, I should make some merch. I have 2 coloring books. Viola. Vi, you are my friend. All right, you guys. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everyone who I haven't seen in here before. That's just great. Everyone's always welcome in here. I want to make people feel like they can ask any questions, even if it seems like a silly one. And yeah, maybe I'll start thinking about some merchandise as well. It's another thing for me to then have to go to the post office and do this or that. So if I do, it'll probably be like Teespring or one of those sites that kind of handles it for you, and I make like $2 off of it. But I would love to get something out there. Especially, I mean, I didn't do this for profit at all. I did it because I wanted to embark on, as I was having really bad lupus flares and taking time off work, I wanted to be able to teach and inform other people of my passion of just the aquatic world in the fishbowl in our house, basically. And it turned into a lot more. It turned into people talking to me with PTSD from Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and people in countries that are dealing with war, and people saying that, you know, the aquariums, aquascaping, just looking at their fish is an escape. It's medicine, it's soothing, and this channel's really grown, and some of that stuff was the reason why I've taken it in a route that I have and not just talked only history, but I've started doing, you know, updates and things like that, because we really have turned into a community. But history, evolution, geography, politics, all that is what I am really into. So, Trinity, thank you. Everybody else, you have a fabulous night. I'm going to be running this, and then this filter will be primed, even though full of dust, which I'll just shake off. It will be primed and ready to run on a bigger tank with cycled water, and that mulm is like gold to cycle through a filter if you're trying to cycle up a new tank. So if I had like a 40 gallon or a 30 gallon, it would be jet set, ready to go. And right here, this thing is going to get uncluttered more, and then we should see this. I'll probably put one more taller rock here, but in the coming days, we'll see this slope come here, maybe one more false slope here, and a little corner accent, some caves for the shrimp, a couple caves for little fish that like that, and then just dense underbrush here and tall, colorful plants along the back. So, all right, guys. Oh, I gotcha, Bob. Thanks again, everybody. Super chat, sharing, liking, it means a lot to me, and it helps the channel grow. Helps bring in people with new knowledge, and also the things like secret shrimp, all caps, and then the number 15, all no spaces or anything, at Aquatic Arts. That gets you 15% off anything they do. Drop their what do you call it? Their customer service manager, who's named Preston, a line in the note. You know, you can just say, "Hey, attention, Preston. Heard about this from Aquatic or from the Secret History in your aquarium." And what I'm trying to do is get him to do a couple giveaways to fans. So like, you know, I can give stuff away, but they can ship like, you know, 2 adult plecos, like, you know, for do a contest. Anybody who's ordered from them will be able to get drawn into a contest or something like that. And then on top of that, they just have the existing discounts, and also they give sometimes they'll throw in some extra free stuff if they have extra plants. So that's my connection to them. I don't get paid by them. when I buy stuff from them, they throw in extra for me at a little bit higher rate than 15%. But yeah, I don't do that for anybody unless they share it with you. Lucas Bretz is another person that I buy things from. Now, there's no discount associated with him, but he will hook you up fat. And I always love it when people mention that if you did hear it from me first, Lucas Bretz has some beautiful, beautiful shrimp and fish. His Neocaridina freshwater shrimp are the best in the country that I can see, that I can buy. It's where all my stock and my lines have started. I got rid of all my old stuff and started over with his. And then lastly, we've got Flip Aquatics with the Caridina shrimp, and now they're doing nanofish and all sorts of stuff like that. The code HISTORY, just capital HISTORY, history 10. You can get 10% off on top of everything whenever you order from Flip Aquatics. And Rob, the owner, and his wife, they are great. So, Amanda and Rob, that is. So, yeah, those are the discount codes in the description below. You can always check that out. Thanks for bearing with me on this two-parter, kind of bizarre live aquascaping set with my wife helping read off questions. But you all mean a lot to me joining me, and I hope we as a community are more than just fish nerds, but fish friends and just real friends. So thank you so much. Be kind to each other. Take care of your fish. Take care of your plants, the people around you, and it'll all come around. And yeah, goodbye, Dad. Not your friend. Take care. Not your friend, guy. I can't end on that note. I can't end on that note. So I'll end on this one. Love.